The following broadcast is intended for mature audiences. These are real people sharing very real, deeply personal experiences. This content may be considered triggering for others and for those who are sharing. The chat room is a privilege intended for discussions and sharing. You are not being asked to agree, but you are being asked to stay civil and refrain from personal attacks. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome back to Am I Mental? Your live podcast where we share stories with real people share stories. Oh my lord, I'm blowing at this one bad. I have Oz coaching up the guest tonight in my ear while I'm trying to do the intro. So it totally derailed me. Anyway, live podcast where real people share stories about how life impacts mental health and mental health impacts life. I'm your host, E. With us tonight, as I already said, is Oz.
What's up, Am I Mental fam?
And tonight we are blessed to have one of my cousins on, my oldest cousin, who's still younger than me. So the oldest female cousin, because that's what we agreed on here. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, so I'm Elle. I am actually the oldest cousin by due date.
Yeah, but I still came out first.
Decided that he would try to kill his mom to come out before me. You know, who knew E was so competitive?
And it's stayed that way my entire life. It really has.
That's that family rivalry going on.
Ladies, let me tell you, if you want a man who can drive forever, E is your man.
Aw, well, thank you. Kind of taken, but thank you. Yeah, Kat's already in the chat going, nice, blame it on Oz. Yeah, well, I got derailed. I was trying to block it out. I've been out of the call center too long. So I'm more easily derailed than I used to be.
Well, you know, E, excuses are like assholes, and I am the oldest female cousin, so I am going to take it to you during this podcast.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
Hope that your viewers enjoy it.
I'm sure the listeners will enjoy it quite a bit, considering quite a few of them are family. So
I know I'm about to enjoy it.
Oh my, so they'll understand so much more.
Yeah, so
Made some popcorn.
So tonight's topic, we talked and we went over, I mean, there's a lot of things we could talk about, but what we settled on was being raised without a father. Something that is tragically common here in the Western world, especially here in the U.S. So, as you know, this is an alien concept to me. I was very blessed to, have my parents still married to this day. So, yeah.
You are such a rare child in the Western world.
Yeah, my parents have been married for 46 years now.
That is so very rare in our Western world concept.
It is.
It really is, yeah. I mean, I grew up single parent household.
And I bet your mom would have whooped your ass, too. Well, we already talked about that. She was like...
Would have?
No, she did.
I mean, whooping ass only gets you so far, though.
I mean,
it gets you at least as far as to not be on the parents' nerves. Because, well, that's what it did for me. My mom was all of 5 foot nothing and could swing like an '80s Giants batter.
Whew.
Ooh.
So she could hit like Will the Thrill, huh?
There you go. Fun fact, I actually have his phone number in my phone book, my contacts.
You know that Will Clark? Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you ever talk to him, let him know that he's the reason I got into baseball. Like, literally, he was the player that got me interested.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's why
fight as kids about when we were playing baseball on my street, like little kids, we'd literally get into physical fights and beat the shit out of each other about who gets to be Will,
Well, you have to bat left-handed.
Everybody's dancing.
You have to bat left-handed and mean mug.
Role playing only goes so far.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And yeah, meanwhile,
So awesome.
Elle's mom.
Beautiful.
Elle's mom is, although now, well, she's older now, so she might actually legally be a little person now, because she was a quarter of an inch too tall to be legally classified as one back in the day.
Ah,
Yeah.
nice.
So my mom is beautifully under 5 foot also.
Yeah.
But she didn't have a mean bone in her. Her means of discipline was doing the dishes in the house that were already clean and writing sentences.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She spanked me one time that I can remember in my entire life, and once her hand hurt, I laughed at her, and she sent me to my room. And I will to this day, feel guilty for laughing at my mother's attempt to discipline me, because I understand now what that means. But my mom was one of those hardworking women that worked all the time to support us, because it was just her and I.
Yeah, and your mom, I
just wanted
I love
to
your mom.
protect her.
I love your mom so much. She's such a gentle soul. Like, she really is there. She's 4 foot nothing, basically, and one of the funniest people I know.
Yeah, she's joy and happiness and love. And since before I can remember, I may have been a child, but I wanted to protect her. Like, I was born tough. That's just
Yeah,
that.
you were.
I was born tough. I was born mischievous.
And our families used
I was born who knows what.
And our families used to pit us against each other, always talking about, like, oh, Elle is, like, pulling, like, 4.0 and doing this and that. And I'm like, I can't let her do that. No, Elle was not. But our family really did all that.
Under one roof. So 10 children under one roof, they're gonna compete, and that's gonna carry over to us. And my poor mom was so sweet. Like,
You said 10 children?
I don't even know.
Yeah, my dad has 9 brothers and sisters. Her mom has 9 brothers and sisters.
Wow.
Hey,
Wow.
as
I
my
can only
dad explained to me, when he had to help move my grandparents' bed from their bedroom in order to paint the room, he was like, "Wait a minute, you guys only have a double?" And Grandpa said, "Yeah, that's how there's so many of you guys." Because they didn't have a bigger bed. So yeah, they were kind of forced to be,
Oh, because Grandpa couldn't do his thing with one of them, because they were all together. But that's for a different podcast, right, Eric?
Definitely for a different podcast. Ah, son of a...
Yeah. Looks like mimental.net is down.
But why?
It's how I usually get to the podcast to review the chat, and I can't get into the...
I'm logging in now to take a look here.
Yeah. So, what's your fondest memory of your mom from back then while you were doing that? Yeah, because it sounded like she was an amazing woman. Yeah, like if you were gonna tell one story, to your mom's grandchildren about her, what would that story be? Put you on the spot, make you think hard.
Oh, that would be her entire life.
Oh,
Every time I'm with my mom, every conversation with my mom, everything with my mom, every time is monumental. My mom is probably the most amazing. Next to Mother Teresa, my mom is amazing.
Yep, it sounds like it. Well, we're
I could talk about how we fed the homeless together.
Let's do it.
Okay. Yeah.
I could talk about how she prayed for me through everything. I could talk about how she fought for the child that I gave up for adoption.
She really did.
I mean, there isn't one. There is just, not one.
It's like just
my
back
mother
to back.
Daily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Did your mom have?
She has filled the shoes of being a father and a mother. Mm-hmm. That is what my mother has done.
Yeah.
She is the greatest father and the greatest mother to me, and she fills both shoes.
Wow.
Now,
that's awesome.
I have to
I felt
ask.
the same way about my mom. I used to get my mom Father's Day cards. For Father's Day.
I do. Like, I celebrate Father's Day for my mother so much more than I celebrate Mother's Day for her. It's like sad.
All right, so I figured out what was going on with the website. It didn't auto bill like it was supposed to. I just paid it. It'll be up again in just a few minutes.
Awesome.
Sure it will.
So, one question I have for you, Elle, is I know that, you grew up, you didn't have your dad. Your dad, we will get to that story. Did you ever feel jealousy towards any of the other cousins that, since we all had both of our parents together? I can't think of well, there's one uncle who, yeah.
No, never. I never felt jealousy towards anyone else who has better than me. I actually feel joy that they have what I'm missing. When I watch a TV show and a little girl says, "Daddy," and her daddy protects her, I cry. I cry because I don't have that. I don't feel jealousy or rage or envy or any of those. Good. I long for, and I yearn for what I don't have. I do not displace that on anybody else. And my mother has grown me and taught me, and my love for the Lord in my heart shares with me that I am happy for those who have all the things that I do not. I'm so happy for them.
Mature. It's super mature.
And in our...
In this...
I was just going to
say... In our world, where, where everything, everything is a me, and, everybody expects, everything for themselves. It's very rare that you find somebody who can celebrate other people's wins without coveting them.
Oh yeah. I gain a win when somebody else gains a win.
That's awesome. Now, I do have to say that in the chat we do have some comments already.
Get into it.
Tell Lindsay
that's my job.
I'll send you a link. Anyway, we have Kat, Sarah, JB all in the chat right now. And JB was saying that, my mom was a very successful OBGYN doctor, was number one in the hospital she worked at, and I can't complain at all about my childhood. I loved it. He also was raised by just a single mother.
I didn't know what I was missing. I didn't know. I loved it.
Yeah,
it doesn't sound like your mom left you. How amazing your mom was! You weren't lacking for anything.
No.
When my dad disappeared, he didn't disappear. My mom pulled the ejector switch and booted his ass. The biggest change in my life was I was getting ass whoopings on an every other day basis. So
Oh well, my son grew up with a father, and he still got ass whoopings by me every day because he was a little motherfucker. That's how it goes for being bold. That comes from the personality of my brother. I'm sorry.
It was once a week for my mom.
You must have been a little asshole.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And what pissed my mom off the most, is like in the 80s, she would say that people would be like, "Your son is so well behaved. He's really good." And my mom's like, "My child? D- Bullshit. He's acting." Because when I was at home, I was a little hellion, but when I was out, I was super good. I've always been like, even when I was little, I had a lot of charisma, so I was an entertainer. Like, people liked me when I was a kid, but when I went home, like, I didn't listen. I didn't do shit that I was told to do. I wasn't polite, and so my mom kind of being polite into me.
Oh, so my son
You
was the
will
same way.
be polite.
Right? Yeah.
So my son was the same, but when we came home, he had a father. He had a father in the recliner chair. And so he was mindful and he was careful. And yet still he did cause me to whoop his ass and bust his mouth. But it was always under the guidance and direction of his father. So where you're sharing, yes, that is what a boy does without a father in a home, because I was blessed to have a man who took me and my son on and loved us unconditionally. There was never any question of any other sorts of his intentions. My son did not get out of line that way at home. And my son still at 19, because I'm a drunk, let's be honest, I'm a drunk. And I am
But you are working on it.
I am working on it. And I am still very scarred and non-trusting. And I still have a lot of issues. But my husband always stood behind me. And he maintained my son with me. And he took care of my son. And he explained me to my son. And he did not allow my son to act those ways at home. So while I had no problems with beating my son in public or making him mine in public, when it came to being at home, my husband made sure that my son understood that his mom had not had a good life, had not had a good childhood, and had reasons to be the way that I was. And that I loved him, and that I loved them, and that I was worthy of love. And he raised my son up right with me in the areas and the ways that I could not.
Yeah, it's super important to have a good partner who can fill in the gaps, when necessary. I think Sarah and I are really good at that, where we are. The audience can't see her, but she's said hi, beautiful.
Oh, you're lucky. Look at how beautiful she is.
Yeah, I am super lucky. She's amazing. But it's important to have a partner that fills in those gaps for you, right? Like two cogs.
Absolutely.
You got a bunch of gaps there, and if the pieces fit together, it doesn't matter where your own personal deficits are, because you have a strong partner beside you.
My
who fill those.
oldest son, I did not have a partner with, and he's strung out on meth and heroin, and he's been throughout the penitentiary systems and the mental health systems, and he probably will wind up dead from an overdose, a gunshot wound, a stabbing, or he will find life in prison, because he did not have that. And I do have to live with the realities that I created, made, laid down, and have this child that I am incapable of having. And I can't say that I blame it on being fatherless, but I will honestly tell you the truth. I fucking know that that's why my oldest son is the way that he is, and that is where he comes from. He comes from the background, because I was only 18 when I had him. I had already moved out from home. My mom says run away since I was 15 when I had him. But I do know that he is a product of that. And there is not a lot I can do about that.
Yeah, there really isn't. I've been running into, so I haven't talked to my daughter in over a year, And I really don't know what's going on with her. I've reached out. I've tried to fix things, and I haven't heard anything about it. I don't think I've really talked about that on the show, and probably won't get into detail. For her privacy, I still got to respect it. But I've realized, like, as a parent, like, you don't have as a parent, you have influence, but you don't actually have control. Control is an illusion. We don't have control over anything.
You don't have control over your own life.
Right? The only thing we have control over is ourselves and how we react to things. And that's where our control stops. So going through what I've gone through with my daughter, like wanting to speak with her so much some nights that, like, I just find myself bawling because I miss her so much. And I want nothing but the best for her. That there's no control. She's going to make her own decisions. She's going to do what she wants to do. And the best I can do is hope and pray. Hope and pray that, she's living her best life and she's okay. Because it's our job to influence them to the best of our abilities, but it's not our job to live their life for them. Right. So, we gotta, it gets to a point where they need to be held responsible for their own decisions. And that's kind of hard for us to swallow sometimes, but you come into those realities,
For me, it's a lot more unsettling because my first common law marriage husband is the one doing meth and heroin with my son. I left. Wow. I left early on in life, and I fought for 7 years for custody, and I showed the courts everything, and the courts in California still decided that drug use and abuse was a personal choice, and they still 50-50'd my son with me and his father's family was also that way. And I did choose that. When I got with his father, I was a meth addict. I was a drug user and a drug dealer and drug seller. And after I had my son, I decided that wasn't the life I wanted. So when I got pregnant with our second son, I gave him up for adoption in hopes to show the family that this was not the life I wanted. And I tried to take my son and could not. So still to this day, my son's father is still the one providing the meth, the heroin, and the lifestyle to him. The last time that my son went to jail, I asked him, I said, son, how much drugs is your father doing with you? And he said, oh my God, Mom, my dad gives me piles of meth. We bang loads of heroin behind it, and it's the greatest thing on the planet. So,
wow, that's gotta be hard.
That doesn't sound like a love for the father. That sounds like a love for the lifestyle.
Exactly.
And how do you combat that? And I think a lot of people mix up addiction for love.
Right.
There's comfort in what they do for their addiction, and that comfort equates to love for a lot of people.
Right.
I mean, let's just face it. There's a lot of things in life that we will equate with love that's not actually love.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And addiction's just one of the things. There's a mountain of things.
Yep.
So my son's aunt decided to take him in and try and clean him up. And while he was coming down off of all of the drugs, he abused her dogs, and it was on video and it went viral. And so now for almost a year now, my son has been on the run.
Oh,
and
I know how I feel when I see videos of someone abusing a dog. It makes me lose my shit.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. I'm the same way. If I see it in person, it's going to be a bad day for somebody.
So he's been on the run ever since, and I have no contact. Prior to this, my son was living with me, and I got him his GED I got him a job. We were getting him his driver's license. He had all new clothes, all new swag. He was doing so incredibly well. But then the car fire came through and it burned us out, and we were all homeless. And so my son went back to his father and that family, and this is where it has ended at. And I'm really sorry if I just ruined your entire podcast with my sadness.
No,
that's what this is about. This podcast is about real life, real people, real experience.
Yeah.
You know, Sarah is actually dropping some knowledge, like she always does, in the chat. She started by saying her dad used to threaten her with spanking in the belt, although she thinks she only got spanked a couple of times, but never got the belt. She also said, hearing about everything you've gone through with your son, that it has to be really hard as a mom. She couldn't imagine. And then she said to talk about all the drug uses, how we were talking about mistaking the addiction for love. She said, and those kinds of drugs flood the brain with the same neurotransmitters that love does. So there is a medical reason behind it. You know, it's
Absolutely.
really easy to mistake. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Kat said, you know, that really sucks. And oxytocin.
Yeah,
and dopamine.
I have 20 years off of methamphetamines. I have 10 years off of pills. And I have yet to conquer alcohol. I have 2 months off of beer. I still drink my vodka. But I have 2 months off of beer, which I was a vodka and beer drinker, and beer is my actual love. And cigarettes still to go. So once the vodka and the cigarettes go, I will be addiction free. But I still have a heavy lot to carry to get on with that.
Well, you're doing it, though. That's the thing.
Yeah. When the first step, they say, is realizing that there's a problem, you know, and wanting to make a change, right? If you're there, you've already done the really hard part. Because I was a heavy drug user myself. I was a heavy drinker for a long time. And I never thought it was, there was a problem with it. Like, my thing was Coke. I dealt Coke years and years and years and years. And I was doing, like, at my worst, like 7 grams a day, which would kill any normal person.
I used to work it for Kim.
Yeah, you know, and it's, I once had somebody say, to kind of give the idea, the insight into what a drug user thinks. I once had one of my buddies tell me, you know, I'm really glad that Coke is socially acceptable. I don't have to hide it anymore. And I was like, bruh. Right? I was like, Coke is only socially acceptable to other cokeheads.
No, it's socially acceptable across the board. Cocaine is socially acceptable across the board. You would be surprised that actually people who don't even get down with marijuana will get down with cocaine. Cocaine is socially acceptable. And I think it comes from... I think it comes from the fact that cocaine was put in Coca-Cola originally.
That's part of it. I mean, cocaine... So,
Our first drug den houses were for heroin. So heroin was the bad guy, and cocaine gave us fortification and energy and joy and love, and it made us feel good. So I really feel like it's inertia in our environment, in our communities, that cocaine is okay. It's the heroin and the marijuana and those drugs that are not.
And I'm actually getting some chats on my side from the cousins directly to me. You know what? I'm going to name drop because it's the only way that we're going to be able to do this, because there's too many cousins. Not you. No.
Do not name drop on my cousin. Do not name drop on my cousin.
Okay.
I will not be party to this.
Okay, you know the sisters that have the letter L's for their first names?
Yeah, because
the youngest. Well, the youngest of those two was thanking you for your vulnerability on this podcast. My sister is saying that this is a killer episode, so she's loving it. Yeah, and seriously, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for doing this. Not where I thought it was going to go, but this is some really important shit that we need to talk about. I mean, we're talking society's ills right here.
For sure. These shows never go where we think they're going to go.
It never does.
Which is great.
Yeah, we were going to talk about Elle's, the father that never got to meet. We can still go there, but yeah, no, this is.
No, let's save that for a further podcast because I really feel like where we're at.
What we're talking about now, yeah, I agree 100%. But I wanted to throw in there that, yeah, my phone's blowing up too right now. So.
Well, good for you. Back to me and A and our cocaine assumptions.
Hey, you guys go ahead and enjoy your cocaine. I'm a cannabis guy.
Yeah.
Which is more hated than cocaine.
It depends on what circles you run in, to be honest.
I can never. So I did a bunch of coke because I couldn't. I felt like when I would smoke pot, I would get super tired and super paranoid and super hungry. So I'd every time I'd order 2 pizzas, they'd show up, and I would hide in a corner hoarding my fucking large pizzas, thinking everyone's gonna steal them, and would eventually fall asleep on a couch somewhere, hugging my fucking pizza boxes.
Oh my god!
Okay, see now, I would take pictures of that and blackmail you for the rest of your life.
You don't.
Okay,
yeah, they exist.
So let's get really real and really live here. I would rock cocaine for a pimp because I did meth. And with my meth and my thermometer in the water, I could rock the most out of cocaine with the least amount of baking soda. And they would pay me enormously, and I would go get my meth, and I would never touch their coke because I did not like cocaine. I liked methamphetamine.
Yeah, I started, the first drug I ever sold was crack, and that was when I was 13. I was rocking it myself by the time I was 14. Yeah.
I taught Master P how to rock crack, okay?
Yeah.
I rock crack like that. I was the bomb. I could rock crack, and my rocks would be 2 sizes bigger than anyone else's because I had turned it into an Einstein science project on the fucking burner because I was methed out.
Yep. I mean, that's common with people who are on meth. I mean, you blink and somehow a TV has been installed inside of your fridge so you don't miss a show. You know, they'll figure out how to do it. And nobody in the morning remembers where the TV came from.
Paid attention to a TV, but
yeah.
And actually, Sarah just dropped a good chat thing, and they're like, "Holy shit!"
What'd she say? Sarah said there was I can't say that word. I'm not that educated.
There was a neuropsychopharmacology magazine that did a study on pair bonding and opiate receptors. They found that naltrexone, an opiate blocker, prevented primates from preferring established relationships over new mates. So what she's saying is that there is a drug that they used that it blocked how opiates work on your system, and the primates decided that they preferred chasing after new mates as opposed to staying with tried and true relationships. Basically, it kind of caused them kind of a danger-seeking thing.
Drug they gave people?
No, this is a study done on primates to see what opiate receptors do. And when you get flooded, it's like when you get flooded with things like methamphetamine, heroin, cocaine, stuff like that, how it floods your brain. I'm guessing, and maybe Sarah, you can correct me, but what I think I kind of put together here is that when you're getting flooded with that stuff, it kind of acts like an opiate blocker in its own right, and it causes you to do a little more risky behaviors, like finding new mates as opposed to trusted relationships. And Kat's angry because of drug testing on animals. Well, yeah, of course.
Okay, but I can agree with that because I may be on my 3rd marriage, but it's the 4th male in my entire lifetime that I have been intimate with. And I did 20 years of methamphetamine hardcore. I never
Interesting.
went outside of my mate. I never went outside of my mate. I never wanted outside of my mate. So I would have to disagree with that.
Interesting.
People who are born easy or people who are born easy are already loose-minded and they're already predisposed for that kind of behavior. So not all people are born committed. Not all people are
Right.
I mean,
there's
there
always
are two types of people in the planet, right? And it seems like you're more loose-minded and you're most whatever kind of people would be with many people. But you're ones that are born more like, what do they say, conservative, for lack of a better term, stay conservative, even though they grow their drug use, which is how you have so many like 60s and 70s moms who drank too much, who took Valium too much, who took Xanax too much, but they never parted outside of their mate or their ways. It just depends on that.
All right.
Yeah, and I oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Sarah just joined us. Yeah, because what you touched upon, I was doing the best I could off of the information that you gave, and you being in here is going to help a lot more.
Yeah, I texted her. I was like, you got more to say on this.
Okay, so you guys need to, there's a big echo there.
Yeah, I'm going to join another room.
Okay, sorry.
Hi, love.
Hi. Yeah, no, I wasn't saying that it necessarily makes people promiscuous, but with your son, for example, it could prevent him from, consciously choosing your love over the drugs because they mimic that.
That's true. That's so true. It actually is. And if the drugs are propelling you to find love, then of course you would go from one to another looking for love and not being aware that the drug is actually stopping you from feeling real love.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So basically the drugs run interference. I was going to say, so basically the drugs run interference on actually feeling normal love.
They are not a cause. They are an interference, not a cause.
Yeah, well, and they also, interfere with your ability to have rational thought also.
Absolutely.
Yes. Especially with meth because, constant chronic exhaustion will interfere with your ability to think rationally.
Yes. That is probably the one biggest, most interferences. And you would look for love anywhere it was being shown. And you would think that it was valid because you would think, I'm so vulnerable right now. Who could love me? So this person must absolutely love me because they see me at my most worn down and my most vulnerable. Absolutely, that happens.
Well, and they're giving me what I need, so they must care about me.
Right, exactly. Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. And that's where all that interference comes from. It's a world of it's a world of gimme, get, show, tell. It's a whole world of that stuff, and you can't.
It's like
you can't get out of it until you're sober.
And our society kind of is built around instant gratification, and from the worst I got is that I nearly fell down the rabbit hole of alcoholism and just barely tiptoed away from pill abuse personally, which a lot of people may or may not know. Most people probably don't, even though I have talked a little bit about it.
They
but
know now.
Yeah, they do now if they weren't paying attention before. But I can only imagine just from what I saw, because I didn't fall deep into it, but I did get close to it. I can see that just is like the instant gratification culture cranked up to 11. Well, it's amplified, but big.
But I did have a pill addiction. I was on pain pills for years, because I have a, what do you call it, a congenital defect in my collagen that basically makes everything stretchier than it should be. So like my joints pop out of socket and stuff. But so I was
Oh,
on pain pills for years, long enough to become physically dependent on them. And there is something to be said for the withdrawal from those kind of things. Like they will make you desperate, like you have never been desperate before.
The pain pill
I've never wanted to
rage,
die so much in my life.
the pain pill rage and the amount of abuse we put on the ones who love us when we need our pill is something that words cannot describe.
Yeah.
I have
I've seen it.
never. Yeah. I don't know that you have, cousin. I love
Not
you,
you, not you.
very much. But
not you, but I've had other people that have been addicted to pain pills, and I saw how much they would lash out when they were jonesing for one.
Yeah, I had a buddy who graduated from pills to heroin, and then helped him kick a couple times. And some of my most vivid memories, and him and I went through a lot of shit together. We were really close for many years, and holding him on his kitchen floor as he's sweating, it looks like somebody spilled water on the floor. He sweated so much as I'm holding him on his floor, on his kitchen floor like a baby, where he is ugly crying in pain for hours, going between sobbing and throwing up, because he's detoxing, from all of it. It's some ugly shit, and people don't understand
that's why people don't recover, right? That's why people don't recover.
When our medical system
it's not for the love of the drug. It's not for the love of the drugs. It's for the fear. It's for the fear of the pain that comes with it.
Yeah, I don't want to be sick.
It's not like any sickness you've ever had. I've heard people, refer to it like the worst flu you've ever had.
No,
it's nothing like that. It's
nothing.
like being tortured. Like you feel like you're being electrocuted nonstop. Every minute feels like a day. Every day feels like a month. And it lasts for a week.
I describe it as feeling like my whole entity and my whole entire soul is being shredded through a screen door.
Yeah.
That's every particle and every piece of me is being smashed through a screen door. Like I'm expected to come through this screen door, and it's not like a colander. It's not like something like that. It's like every part of my being is being smashed and pushed through this screen door, barely by little tiny particles. And I'm being turned into a pulp, and the pulp is still expected to go through the screen door. And when I come out on the other side, I'm still supposed to be me. I'm supposed to get up the next day and take care of my children, love my husband, go to work, do this thing called life. But I have just been shredded through a fucking screen, not even a colander. It's awful.
Yeah.
I think that an experience most people can't empathize with.
I was just going to say, I think that was the most graphic description and visceral description I've ever heard. Thank you for that. And dear God, I don't ever want to experience that.
And our medical system is not equipped to handle it either.
No.
And there are medications that you can take for a few days to get past that, but what they want to do is prescribe them forever, essentially, because they don't think it wise, I guess, to allow people to recover their lives completely. They send you to a methadone clinic they give you.
There's no money in a cure. There's money in treatment.
Yeah,
I hate that so much. I hate that so much. There, what gets you more money in the long run? Preventative, because people keep coming in for tune-ups. Sure. Now, I will say, I got permission to name drop. Cousin Lindsay is very proud of you, and that your message is going to help so many others, and also agreed with your description. My sister, as we all know, she works a hell of a job. She has seen some serious detox in her 15 years in her career. So, yeah. Like I said, I mean, that description was just so... I might have a nightmare tonight. I'm going to be like, yeah, so I got this dream that I got shoved through a meat grinder, but they didn't use just a regular meat grinder grate in front of it. They actually put a screen in front of it.
Yeah. Yeah. My husband has gone through all of this with me. And actually, believe it or not, he's still here.
He loves you. If he can
Sounds like a good man.
if he can deal with that, he loves you.
Well, and I mean, let's face it, the amount of people who come through one or the other addictions, much less both, are extremely small. So that is nothing, you should be extremely proud.
Oh my God.
The relapse rate is so high.
Oh my God. No, I'm gonna touch on what she didn't mean to say, but what I heard. After you come through the screen, you feel small. You still feel worthless. When you re-enter society and you try and go to the grocery store somewhere, nobody knows that, but everything feels so foreign to you. Everyone you knew didn't know that the last few days this is what you were going through, so they don't know, and no matter where they're at in your social archies, they don't know, and you feel so fucking foreign. They don't know, you don't know, they're smiling, oh, I love you, and they don't know, and you feel so absolutely small.
Yeah, even
you're not
closest...
broken. Yeah, it's not like you're broken. It's just that you're brand new. You're so small and you don't understand and you don't know. And everyone around you doesn't get it, so they don't know. And you're not trying to explain it to them or break it down to them and tell them. It's just too fucking exhausting. Like, you are foreign, like newborn on this planet now that you're free from this existence, but you're fucking grown and you have a life that you're supposed to be living.
Yep. I was on Pain for almost 10 years, and I didn't realize that entire time I was depressed. I had tried to talk to my family about the issues that I had, and what happened was they all treated me like I was a junkie. And those relationships still haven't really recovered. So,
Right?
And you weren't, maybe by some stretch of the imagination you could have been considered a junkie, but you were prescribed and you were following your prescriptions. You were kind of made into it.
Them,
right.
I had an addiction. They didn't care about that because there's so much stigma. Yeah, there's so much stigma around it that it doesn't matter how it started. They don't care.
Right.
It's a weakness.
You weren't supposed to end up that way. You had done something wrong, or it wouldn't have turned out this way because it was prescribed to you. So you had done something wrong, because if you had done it how it was prescribed to you, you wouldn't be here, which makes it almost even worse.
Yeah. Well, that and, in my family having even though, there are a lot of, pardon me, broken ass individuals in my family, just having accepted that kind of help was a weakness.
Yeah. Thankfully, I only have my mom. My husband, I didn't have a lot of extended family that would judge me that way. Sorry, Eric. I love you guys, but you guys
name drop.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
It happens often.
Yeah. I don't think there's anybody who's heard the show more than twice that doesn't know his name.
Yeah.
It happens at least every other show.
Oh, it happens so often.
That's why I just go by Oz on here to save people, because it's going to happen.
Yeah, it will.
Oh, yay, Kat's still there. I feel like every time I come on, everybody stops chatting. Maybe it's because I'm the one who usually floods the comments.
Well, at the same time, when you get on,
the Am I Mental group chat, like I'll send some paragraph to the Am I Mental people when we're not in the show, and I'm like, I feel like I chased everybody off.
Well, it's because you did. Anyway,
damn. All right, I'm gonna go cry myself to sleep now.
Shots fired.
That's okay. You're a carny.
Oh, you know what? I was giving him the hand heart, and then I had to break it and throw it to the ground after that. No, seriously, my phone is blowing up still from the cousins. Just, I've never seen like our cousins, like our family's kind of weird. We're tough. We're all assholes to each other constantly. It's what we do. It's how we show our love. Like my joke has been, and it's true.
They're not making fun of you. They don't like you.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that. Like if we're not trying to, the way my friends are is if we're not trying to destroy each other's self-esteem, we don't respect each other.
Yeah, it's like if I'm making fun of you, I love you, and that's why I'm always so nice to Andrew. Just so you know.
Oh my God, my husband has...
He's going to be like, wait, what?
My husband has gone through every withdrawal with me. From the bullshit from the pain pills we just discussed and how angry, and from the meth, and he deals with my alcoholism every day. And you guys were like, oh, he loves you, but I don't think he loves me from that stuff. I know he loves me because I treat him like one of my cousins. I'm such an asshole to him. Don't touch me. He fucking gets it. He's like, don't touch me either then. But like, it's because he lets me treat him like one of my cousins that I know he loves.
That's adorable.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Yes, and now in the so we have a family. It's just the cousins, just from basically her mom's side, my dad's side of the family. Just those 10 brothers and sisters, all of the cousins. We all have a group chat, and in there right now, one of the cousins is saying, "So proud of me and for you, Elle, for having this conversation," and is telling the other cousins, "You need to listen." Yeah, especially you, Andrew. I just freaking roasted you. That's what you get for being a Ravens fan.
Those group texts are kind of amazing. My siblings and I have one, and we don't really talk outside of that, but it's nice to have that like little bit of connection because we didn't have that before.
I have a sibling.
I wish I had that with my cousins. I don't my siblings don't have a chat. My brother lives with us. My sister I talk to like once every fourth blue moon. Never talk to my cousins. Yeah, so when Sarah will be laughing randomly, and I'll be like, "What's funny?" "Oh, it's just something in the sibling chat." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't." Not only do I not have I experienced that, it's so rare that you hear about families being that close, because usually when people become adults, they go live their own lives because their siblings or cousins or whoever have been pissing them off since day one because. That's what families do. They torture each other. But to be able to grow up and get past, all the shit we put through each other is pretty awesome.
And we didn't have that until we started the group chat when they were at my mom's funeral. So, my mom's death definitely, has negatively affected me. I was telling Kat about that in chat a bit ago that I've hit the point in my life now where I've kind of run out of those conversations that I've had with her where like if something happens, I can replay it like her advice. But in that way, having the contact with my siblings has been good.
And also,
I don't have any siblings.
Elle, you're going to love hearing this because this is something that I've picked up on, and it's just been confirmed. So, this is also from Lindsay. As she said, she gave me permission to name drop her. She also said that you are an amazing caregiver, and you took great care of her mom. And that you are much more than your addiction. And that admires that you really want to make changes in healthcare.
I do. That is so very true.
And that is awesome that
I
you
don't
take
ha-
care of that,
I
of
don't
Auntie.
I don't have siblings. I didn't have a father. I have a husband, and my youngest son has left home, and forever it's kind of been me in this universe. And so I gravitated towards taking care of people, taking care of people who were in the middle of living their lives and then found themselves in need of care, which caused them to be dependent on a stranger. And I appreciate being the stranger that could care for them in the way that a person who loved them, cherished them, would, because after all, we're all God's children. After all, we all meet the same end. And I choose to believe that when God reads every person's life that came in contact with me, at the point in which they came in contact with me, God will read. And God will know that about me when I meet him.
I
could
agree.
be angry. I mean, I could be angry. I could be bitter. I could be selfish. I mean, I'm pretty good at criminal activity. Let me tell you what. I could be a savage fucking.
Yeah, we don't need to go there.
I really could be. Yeah, I really, really could be. But none of that agreed with my soul. After what my grandfather did to my family, I could never cause harm to another human being, because I have spent my entire life trying to come to terms with the amount of harm that one human being is capable of doing to an entire family and multiple generations.
Yeah.
And I cannot reconcile that yet inside of myself, let alone be someone who could do that.
And that's a conversation that we will have to have someday. You and I discussed it already, and we're not ready for that yet. It would break too many hearts. And
it would.
It is a conversation.
It's true.
It is something that we will talk about it one day.
One human being caused so much pain, suffering,
generational damage,
and ripples generationally, that I could never be anything like that. I strive to be the exact opposite in every single person's life that I meet.
And even though I wasn't targeted by it, it impacted my life too.
Wait, come back with that. I need that.
But
it's amazing what having
often
that kind of pain in your life can do to make you sensitive to the pain of other people.
Let's just say that.
Yeah, it made me a great person, right? I mean, I have to say thank you, because it made me a great human being.
God bless this broken road, right?
Right?
Exactly.
Except that in this case, it was the dynamited road, because she's the damage. Like, I still can't even truly fathom the damage that was brought on by this person. It is so...
But it doesn't matter, because it's made me a great human being, and it has impacted a million lives for good. So in the end, that little tiny, and I will point my finger for you two to see, that little tiny made me great and has impacted great lives.
I think it says a lot about you, the direction you took your life, because often people who've gone through that gone through damaging experiences from people who are supposed to be close to them, either you emulate them as an adult, and that type of thing keeps alive generationally, or you have people who are strong who let them influence them in ways where they won't reproduce it and they break the cycle. So I got motorcycles in my background. I live out in the country and got a couple of kids riding motorcycles on the property next to me. I keep having to mute, but yeah, it's so easy to give in to the evil and to become part of it. You know,
It really is,
it sounds
right?
like you've used it to feel strength in yourself to put good out into the world. You know,
Yeah, it would be so much simpler sometimes to just put that pain off on other people.
Yeah.
Right, and to be hateful and to be, yeah, but
Exactly.
that was always so exhausting to me. Why
it
feed
is, but
something that I want to starve to death?
yeah, the thing is, it's I gotta go inside. Because of these motorcycles, but it's easy for people to stick with the evil because it's the devil you know versus the devil you don't, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's hard to
easy
forge your
propagate
own
the
path.
things that you have experience with. Exactly. You know, especially when a lot of people haven't been taught that. Fortunately, you had your mom, who apparently is a saint, you know, who showed you there is a way, you know, to spread love and care in the world.
She
you
has
know, so you had a
definitely
positive influence.
fought her demons. I will say that. She has definitely fought her demons.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll circle back around. She has fought her demons and is at peace and all is well. I still struggle with my demons, and my demons are all self-destructive. So, well, it's all said and good that I don't hurt the world and I don't hurt other human beings. I help them, I heal them, I get them through. I very much am self-destructive. And what do you do with that?
Yeah, because essentially instead of putting your pain off on other people, you're turning it in towards yourself. I
Yeah.
do the same thing.
I do the same thing.
Emotional masochism.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I am great at that, man. I am good at that. We can get down with that.
I don't want to be down with that anymore, but I still do it.
Yep.
It's a hard thing to let go of.
Yeah, I do it. I do it
Yeah.
myself. It is. It's you get to a point where you become comfortable. What you're doing to hide from the pain becomes the pain, but your comfort in the pain you've created by trying to hide the pain, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it just repeats, seemingly forever. You know.
I was talking about that in our group chat earlier. Like we were talking about sad earlier, and
which is next week's topic.
Yeah, and my seasonal affective has kind of switched over the years, where I used to love to be out in the sunshine in the summer, and I would be super depressed in the winter. But I become so comfortable in my depression that I like winter now because it lets me hide.
Oh, fuck, girl. I pretend summer is winter. If I'm not at work or like cooking dinner, doing something I have to do, I'm fucking in bed.
Yeah.
I can't quit the vodka. I can't quit the cigarettes. I can't hardly breathe. I'm tired of being drunk. I mean, I don't know if this is too real for a podcast or not.
No, this is what this podcast is about. Yeah, and you're talking mental health. Keep talking.
If you need me to, but that's where the self-destruction I have worked on and worked down and worked on and worked down and whittled away to where we're right here. We're like on the precipice, so fucking close, and this precipice is like growing.
You are so close, though.
I don't know how to stop that.
But you have given up, like I said earlier, there are so few people that quit one of those, much less both. You have, so little of your quote-unquote coping skills left. So it's going to be really hard to let go of those last couple, but you can do it. If anybody can do it, you can.
You've already proven that you can give up some amazing stuff.
You have a proven track record that you can defeat your demons, right? I think a big part of it that I've learned over time is you start to conquer those demons, and the only thing you can really conquer demons with is love, self-love, right? And it's loving yourself, forgiving yourself for the things that you feel are unforgivable,
That's a huge
and
one.
showing yourself, yeah. And once you can do that, which is a monumental task, it's definitely not an easy task. But once you can do that, and it takes a lot of time, everything else seems to get easier because you find that you deserve the happiness. The good you put in the world, but I don't know about you, but me, I still feel like I have penance to pay. And so that emotional
Yup.
masochism comes into play, and so maybe I don't deserve that self love.
So
Yeah.
Doesn't matter
you just
how,
touched upon something from my own therapy from Monday.
yeah,
That, I put out a lot of good into this world, but I still feel unlovable and unworthy. I don't know
Yep.
why.
Yeah.
yeah,
And you
Yep.
you
yeah.
deserve a little bit of that pointed at you,
Yeah.
But it's
I
harder
do
to
I
love
do the same
yourself
thing.
than it is to love anyone else.
Yeah, I'm still like I openly talk about my past, the things I've done. I mean, the selling and the using and all that's one thing, but none of that compares to the violence in my past because I had an extremely violent life. Never to loved ones, thankfully, but it's paying penance for those things. Like, I mean, you can't be a good person and look back on putting somebody in traction who you didn't know just because they were affiliated with somebody else that you didn't know, but they were wearing the wrong thing, saying the wrong thing in the wrong area.
So what do
There's
you
nothing to
do?
do with that.
What do you do with unresolved penance of great violence
Well,
in
it's
your
not
life?
just
Like
that.
you know that all of this violence that caused whatever is unresolved, and there are hurting families out there due to that, and you have to walk away, heal up, and go on and be happy knowing that there is unresolved penance and great violence from your past.
Yeah,
Neither
that's
one
a
of
tough one.
you.
Like, I'm trying not to give no details here, but like, what do you do
Neither
with
one
that?
of you are. Neither one of you are those people anymore, though.
That's a big part
Austin
of
is still
it.
paying penance. Austin is still paying penance. He I don't know if this is too much detail, babe. You can stop me if
I
it
was going to
is.
say, I don't think you ever stop, honestly.
No, well,
Yeah.
and the first time we were together 15 years ago now, he didn't want to have children. So he left me in
No.
Kansas City and came out to California, and he punished himself for that, for the pain he caused me up until we got together again 2 years ago,
Yeah.
But neither
that's
of
true.
you are those people anymore. You, Austin, were forced into a life of violence because of where you grew up,
Yeah.
and that was the only way for you to get by. And you, Miss, are absolutely not the same person. Like I said, those drugs don't only change how you feel about yourself and the people in your life, but they disrupt your cognitive abilities. They disrupt your ability to feel and have a conscience. And so
They completely
you're
alter
just
who
not the
you
same
are.
person. Yeah, you're not the same person anymore. You can be mad at that person, but it was not you anymore.
And that's something I'm still
So if you
struggling
could
with
forgive-
myself is that, and it's like,
Yep.
even though I didn't have the addiction side of things, I have my own demons that I've had to fight. And yeah, I'm not the same person that I was that did some of the shit that I did. It was my body. It was me at the time. And I've had to come to terms with that. I can only do so much penance without hurting the people that I'm around now. Without hurting my family today, my kids today, my wife today.
That's actually something I've never thought of. I've never thought of it like that. That's a good point. But my whole I try to live my life with extreme ownership of my actions, which is really difficult. Sarah's talked to me about this, where I hold myself to a standard that is unrealistic. And my view on it is that if I hold myself to the standard, even kind of like reach for the stars, you might just touch the moon. type of thing.
That's actually my mantra, which is, I aim for the stars, and if I land on the moon, I still accomplished something amazing, and the view is worth it.
Yeah. But I mean, I kind of have to hold myself to the standard because I know what I'm capable of. I've done it before. Like, it is I am a responsible adult now, but if something needs to be dealt with, the first place my mind goes to is like, just whoop his ass. It's the quickest way to learn a lesson, and if I deal an ass whooping, they're definitely not going to forget it, but it's not the right thing to do. That's by any means, and even though I'm 20 years removed, well, maybe less than that, but about that removed from that life, I still go there. So even though I'm not that person anymore, I'm not that person in action, but I'm still that person in some ways in mind.
Yeah, and I mean, again, also it's like another thing to think about too is with your penance thing that you're trying to do. At what point do you forgive yourself? At what point do you allow yourself to live?
Where's his wife?
Oh, Sarah's still here.
I'm here.
Where is she?
I'm here.
Okay, so as a dude, I totally get where his mind went with whooping someone's ass for something. Between you and me, I was an older female with younger females, and I had influence, and I understood how things worked. And being an older female with this group of females, when one of the females stepped out of line, they wound up hurting her. And I feel guilty for that. You understand where a woman feels guilty when she knows that she's capable of manipulating a situation without ever doing anything but being herself?
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm saying. How do I
So then
be
the question,
that?
well, the question is for both of you, if you knew someone else who had lived the life that you did and then
We all
managed.
did. We were bad bitches.
Yeah.
We
Well,
were,
and
we were drug bad bitches. Yeah.
When everybody has their demons, so if you knew someone else who lived that life and then really doesn't matter how, by hook or crook, managed to turn themselves completely around, would you be able to forgive them for that life that they lived before and that other person that they used to be?
Yeah, I'd definitely be able to, I think, but
So then why don't you give yourself that same...
You've seen my ability to forgive people. I shouldn't be forgiven firsthand.
I've forgiven people that bullied me mercilessly from grade school through high school, but they're not that person anymore, and I have forgiven them.
So why is it so hard for you all to forgive yourselves?
That's a great question.
That is a good question.
You got a good point there. I actually had never thought of that. She would not hold it against me. She knows who I am. She wouldn't hold it against me. It's still only me holding it against me because I feel like I need to avenge her. To be honest, I feel like I need to avenge her out of love and respect, but she would never hold it against me.
Well, like you said, the only people that you're hurting now,
and I won't.
Like you said, the only people that you're hurting now is yourself and your family, the people who are affected, by your self-loathing.
Yeah, that's true. Because I won't ever avenge her. It's not my place to, but she wouldn't hold it against me for that. I think somewhere I thought she might have been holding it against me until you just told me how to remember how she was and that she wouldn't.
It's almost like that one quote that's always attributed to Buddha or the Dalai Lama. It's always going back and forth between them. But it's almost like, that one about, holding on to anger is like holding on to a hot coal and hoping that it burns the other person. It's along those lines. And, and I'm, and I need to, like you, I need to forgive myself for some of the shit that I did. That the people that I've slighted, that they've already forgiven me. So why am I still punishing myself?
Right? I mean, we all do wrong. We mean to when we do it, but we don't mean to in the end.
Nobody gets out of this life unscathed.
Yeah.
No one.
We're all human.
No. Yeah. Yeah, we really just are. And we're given to so many factors. Well, this has been good for me.
Good.
Yeah, they talk about this all the time being therapy. It really is.
It really is. And
Right?
it's super cathartic. Like,
Great for me.
when I do an episode about me, I feel a little bit of like a high for days. I get like, seriously, it's like this huge weight gets lifted off of me by just
I noticed that
being
too
open.
the last time I was on. I was writing it for a good couple of days after
Yeah.
it was over.
And I'm not gonna lie, being a co-host or being a host, and talking to other people about this, yeah, I get a high for like a good 24 to 48 hours afterwards, just at where I'm at now. But man, when you talk about your own issues, whew, that's a whole different level.
I'm really glad that you've already started to accept co-host. I did hear you slip with that. Because you're right. As long as I'm on, I am the host.
Well, you're the guest.
I don't care if he came 2 weeks early or not. You did that shit on purpose. It doesn't count. You almost killed your mom in the process, bro.
Yeah, and I'm still born first. And you just have to deal with that.
No.
We don't celebrate conception days. We celebrate birthdays.
You're the boy. You're the boy. I'm the girl.
I'm the oldest. Period.
I'm the girl, yo. I'm the oldest girl.
Yeah, and
You're
I don't.
getting the girl.
I don't need a qualifier. I'm the oldest.
You guys are adorable.
All right, I love him so much.
Yeah, Elle and I. So Elle, growing up, Elle lived over on the East Coast, and it was really. We saw each other every few years, usually around family reunions. And that was almost it. And we had very little communication because long distance was expensive. We didn't have these fancy cell phones and texting and video conferencing. Dude, we're kids.
And we were kids. We just didn't know.
We were born during the disco era. So when she moved into my grandparents' house from the East Coast, we were attached at the hip. We were partners in crime. Like, we were inseparable. Every day. If I wasn't at least talking on the phone.
I got in too much trouble, and Grandpa grounded me, and then my mom moved me again.
Yeah. To Reading to get away from the heat. I'm sorry, but that always cracked me up. Oh, God. It's like the East Coast is so hot. I'm going to move to Reading. Like, okay, you just moved from a sauna to an oven. That's the only difference. The humidity.
That was what killed us about being in Kansas City, was the humidity.
Yes, fuck humidity.
I laughed that he and his brother are like polar bears, because when I first moved in, they would keep the thermostat at like 65, and I had to incrementally start sneaking it up on him a degree at a time until I could stand being in the house.
Kansas City was.
Okay.
Yeah.
The heat was not
when I stepped off the plane.
temperature. The heat was not a temperature. She did not move to Reading due to heat temperature related. Heat was a word used for an entirely different situation.
Got it. Got it. Now that makes sense. That makes so much sense.
Yeah,
we're talking Grand Theft Auto style of heat.
Mother Nature's flat.
Yeah. The heat was not at all a temperature.
Yeah.
The heat was a situation between my grandfather and I, and what was fixing to fucking happen if she didn't get me out of that house, especially after she grounded me from you. Or she allowed him to ground me from you.
Yeah, that...
Aww.
Oh, that pissed me off so much. That pissed. Like, I still, to this day, I'm still pissed about that. So much, it's so far in our past.
Do you know you made me walk 6 feet behind him in the hardware store, and he would take me around town and make the world know how ashamed of me he was? Because I wore makeup and was a modern, and I went and played with my male cousin and went and saw this boy at his house. Yeah, I went and saw Josh at his house, whatever. But whatever. Yeah. The heat was not the temperature, cuz.
Got it.
He was the situation arising, and my mom had never planned on staying in Mount Shasta anyways, but yeah.
Yeah.
You can see on her face
Grandma gave us
how painful that was.
Yeah. I mean, at the time, Elle was among my best friends. Like I said, we were attached at the hip, and to have that suddenly ripped away, and I couldn't understand why. Oh, that just pissed me off. Like, things, I've always been a person that things need to make sense. This doesn't make sense. I'm pissed.
Yep. Yeah, with understanding comes acceptance, right? If you don't understand it, you're not going to accept it.
Yeah. I understand now.
I'm not
Sorry,
turn
girl, we
away.
didn't talk, though. The one thing our family's good at is not communicating. And I was definitely kept away from everyone and told not to communicate because I got a big mouth and I talk too fucking much. Me and Lacey got one thing in common. We love bitches.
You just name dropped again, but you know what? You're dead on. You're dead on.
I'll learn. Me and Al, this Al and that Al, we got it going on, okay?
Well, and girls are not allowed to talk too much. That's not allowed for a girl.
Right.
That's all I have to say about that.
Our family, anytime you talked, people would get hurt. It was like our family's a minefield, and no matter what truths or what everything ever said, done, or relationship built between each other fucking hurts something or someone else or something blows up. I don't know. At least that's my perspective.
You said the functional word there, which is truth. There are a lot of families that don't deal in that. Mine was one that didn't deal in truth either.
Well, I will say this, that this is something that Elle and I talked about at length, was that the household that our parents were raised in was beyond dysfunctional. It was flat out abusive.
Absolutely.
And I didn't have any, and I didn't know how abusive until recently. And our parents, and it's almost like that entire generation, all those kids, all 10 of them, they all made a point to break the cycle. Not a single one of them stuck with that abusive mindset. Like my dad, well, you know what I mean. Like, my dad never heard the words "I love you" from his parents. Ever. I heard it often with my dad. My dad did everything that he could. He had no real role model to base what he did as a man with a son and a daughter and a wife. He had an abusive asshole that ran the family with a tight fist.
His sons with a dog chain.
Yeah, it was literally come home from work and, okay, wife, which kids need beating today? That was the household. That was the household. So my dad, he broke that cycle, and he wanted so much to be the perfect dad. I mean, he was the best man in one of my 2 weddings. I still consider him the wisest man I know, and he gives me help constantly. And all I can do to honor him is to try to take what he taught me and move it up to the next level. You know, I end every conversation with my kids with "I love you." So if God forbid that's the last thing they ever hear from me, that's an amazing way to end it. There's no question. My dad's last words to me were "I love you."
I got the easy out. If I die half the mother to my son that my mom has been to me, he has his father for the other part, and I will still die accomplished.
Right.
I don't know that I'll
This
ever
is a
feel
lot.
my mom's shoes.
And it's
I just
and I just hope that my kids could be better parents than I was. Again, I have who I consider a great role model, but we got to look at it this way. He was the first he's the first generation to break the cycle. I still don't know how much damage I'm passing on to my kids, because I don't know. But I'm doing the best I can and making sure that they're aware that, hey, just 2 generations ago, this could have happened. And had my dad not made an effort to change, I may have fallen victim into this, and I may not have had the ability to change. And like, the best that you can do is, if you have kids, try to make it better. Just keep it going forward. It's the best thing we can do to honor what my dad's generation of family has done.
I
For
think
me,
it's the
that
best
was
thing
like-
or the thing about being a good parent. You always want better for your kids, a better upbringing, a better life. You know, you want them to be more successful than you, kinder than you, smarter than you. You know, find more happiness than you've ever found.
Oh, smarter than me? Man, that's a really low bar.
Well, but look, what's really being said here is the man that you are to your children is what your grandchildren are going to know about you. And actually, by doing what you're doing in another generation or two generations ago won't even matter. And it'll be what you have done as a man for your children and your
Your
grandchildren.
children are your legacy, right?
Yeah.
You live on. From what you teach your kids is how you live on after death, and hopefully, what you leave them with are good things, positive things, things that make the world a better place. You know, I mean, that's my goal, right? I don't know if I don't know if I really succeeded there with my daughter, but I'm trying to help with that with Sarah's son. You know, getting to raise him as bonus dad.
I was gonna say, you're a great bonus dad.
So, but
You're a great woman.
it doesn't.
I'm pretty sure it takes the both of you.
It does.
Yeah, well,
It does.
She's super
It
tolerant.
does.
She's
My
way more
husband's a
tolerant
great
than she
man
should be with
too.
me.
It takes the two of us. I know, girl. I know.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
a lot to handle.
My son's really lucky because, you know, his dad, out of fear, I think, tried to duck out for like a minute after I left, but he said he felt like that was what I wanted. I made it clear to him that it was not, and ever since then he's been incredibly active in Micah's life, and so he's got 2 great dads, really.
Yeah, I think that's like an understatement. Her son's dad is so active in his life. He lives like 1,000 miles away, but spends more time with him every day in video chats and playing games than I see dads who have their kids living with them. Yeah,
Oh
like
my
there
God,
isn't a day they miss talking.
This is so
That's awesome.
for the next podcast. This is a whole new can that cannot fully be opened yet. What you two just said is a whole nother podcast before I could even
That is valid.
even comment on it.
That is
I'm
valid.
just saying, wow. Wait, that like, Okay, Eric, continue. Your dad's the greatest. Our uncles have broken all the cycles. Our aunts have broken all the cycles. What time does this shit end?
Whenever we're ready. Yeah. Uncles, aunts, moms, dads, they're great. Let's just fucking stop now, okay? They don't need the ego boost. We don't need to stroke those egos.
I gotta pee. I wasn't prepared. So I just was like, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. But like now I really have to pee. I love you guys.
All right.
This has been great. I love the therapy. I will do this again. Let's do this again. This is great. People are actually listening to us.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what?
Not just listening live, but people come back, and these are recorded, so they can come back and listen to them whenever they want.
Yeah, and actually,
Yeah, this is E's like 103rd show, I think.
114th.
104th, maybe.
114.
114th show.
Okay, so like I know nothing about podcasts. I've never listened to a podcast. This is my first podcast experience.
Well, you're doing really well.
Exactly, and like I said, this podcast is designed.
Coach,
Yeah. So, and also that 114 includes like bonus episode zeros, but officially this is season 11, episode 6. Wait, the count's off. I need to fix this. I'm going through right now and actually cleaning up everything in the podcast, like going through and doing the official episode counts and all that right now. How can we have
to blur my cuss words and like cut out some of the things I say?
Nah, they're not. They're completely unedited.
Okay.
This is live.
As we're done as soon as we're done, it goes up on speaker or wherever the podcasts are hosted, and then it just people can instantly listen to them. Or if somebody came in late, they can start it from the beginning.
And mimental.net is back up again, but it looks like it's the old one. Damn it.
Yeah.
Wait, no.
Well,
okay.
there's some updates that need to happen anyways, and you
do you want to go tinkle and come back?
Huh?
Yeah, you can go.
Yeah,
You
want
can
to
go
go tinkle and come back?
That's
Yeah,
why I
I'll come
disappeared
back.
earlier. I had to
You
use the
guys
bathroom.
have to tell me all about this this father thing.
By the way,
Yeah,
just
go
so
use
you
the bathroom and come back.
just so you know, we have people listening in Peru, the Netherlands, and New Zealand.
Why?
We're international.
live.
We're international.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you need to
use the
go,
bathroom, come back.
yeah, we can stall.
I'm sheltered. I'm sheltered, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm sheltered. So this is a
No,
whole
you're
new
good.
world for me.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, look at you using
I mean,
technology and shit.
That's one of the
It's
great
just on my
things about
phone.
the
I
internet.
haven't got no. Like I'm gonna say this, and you guys are gonna laugh, but it's the truth. This is on my cell phone, which is not a smartphone. I have no tablet. I have no computer. I have no internet. I have an Xbox that has like Hulu and Netflix and stuff on it, and I just recently got a smart TV. Outside of that, I honestly am a country girl, sheltered woman who really does not want a lot to do with the new world.
Well, that just means you're not constantly bombarded with fake news and bullshit.
Yeah.
Isn't it great? Don't you love the fact that I never digitalized my life and I'm able to still live this way?
No, this.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm only going further north. Like I will retire to nowhere with nobody, and I will eat what I kill, and I will eat what I grow. Like I will end there. I fucking cannot.
So you're our kind of people. That was kind of Sarah Meyer's dream. But like we live in Grass Valley now, which is like a rural distant part of Sacramento.
Grass Valley. I do appreciate Grass Valley. I do know what Grass Valley is, and I do know
we got three.
We got 5 acres for that reason.
Yeah, we got 3 acres out here, and then when we get tired of being this close to people, we'll go move out in the middle of nowhere in hardcore homestead. We'll bring the people around. We'll see the people we want to see by choice and see nobody else on accident.
Right.
So don't tell anybody, even though this is a podcast of how many people, but nobody from New Zealand, I hope, will come here that isn't with the same intentions as me. But we happen to live in a town that's always been a natural orchard and gardens everywhere. So all the fruit and vegetables we need are all over, scattered throughout town. And it's been sad, all the fires, but all the fires have pushed all of the game further down. So if the world ended tomorrow, I would be able to eat and live and thrive just off of the town that I live in.
That's amazing.
So Sarah and I have been talking. We have a large pasture on a hill that was looks like it was once designed for horses, and we're trying to figure out what we want to do with it. And the idea is to put a small solar array out there, so we're completely off grid.
Yeah, you're gonna need more than a small.
We want to set. Well,
Okay.
we need about 27 kilowatts, but
Can I say
also
something really
orchard.
controversial? Can I
Yeah.
say something really controversial?
Sure.
I feel like in 10 to 20 years, those solar panels and everything attached to them, the batteries will all have worn out. There will be no maintenance or anything on them. And then I would take that land and turn it into an orchard of various fruit trees and
We want to do that.
various foods that you could eat. Because I really believe that when a full country shutdown happens, which will happen in the end, like if we're bombed, like Ukraine, we aren't going to have electricity. We aren't going to have gas. We aren't going to have oil. We aren't going to have produce delivered. We aren't going to have any of that. We're going to go right back to nothing. And so, and I personally would advise that any free land would be used for goats and cows, mules and chickens and orchards and gardens.
We want to get goats to deal with our
goats.
blackberries.
Yep.
And
we also have a stream that runs through the property.
And so, when the world ends, blackberries are going to be your best friend because barbed wire don't exist. So you'll line your property with blackberry thorns all around it everywhere. You'll take your blackberries, you'll make jam, you'll make syrup, you'll make pie, you'll make custard, you'll make tea, you'll make everything with those blackberries. And you'll take those blackberry thorns and you'll line your property and you will use them like barbed wire.
Yeah. Well, we've got we have all of that and then some. They're everywhere.
We have 3 acres that's probably 90% usable, which is when you get acreage for that high of a percentage to be usable, plus a stream going through the property. So we have enough room for an orchard. We
actually already have fruit trees in the back.
Oh, we do. We actually do. We don't have enough acreage for cows to graze, but we do have enough for goats. And I want chickens. We both want chickens.
We're gonna get laying hens.
You know, and solar, even if the batteries failed on solar, you would still have power during the day. And where I'm a pretty big techie. Sarah's she is a bigger techie than I am. I don't particularly like tech. I would prefer to be outside building something than playing around on my computer. Like the most high tech thing that I do on a regular basis is watch YouTube.
So you could make the solar work without any power?
Yeah, you can make solar work without batteries. You can actually buy systems now that don't have batteries where it will provide power while there's sunlight. And if there's no sunlight, you're just shit out of luck. You're using lamps.
Yeah, that's why you want batteries.
That would work good, though, right? That would work good, though, right?
But they also have lithium batteries now. Yeah, they have lithium batteries now for solar that, like the lead acid batteries, I think last 6 years, and then they have lithium batteries that will last 10 to 12 years. So you absolutely have to replace those. And when the shit hits the fan, like I'm prepper minded. And I know that we have a lot of probably a lot of liberal leaning. We don't get political here, but a lot of liberal leaning listeners. I'm a firm believer in the Second Amendment protects the rest. You know what I mean? So it's when the shit hits the fan, I think we will be okay. But one of the great things about Grass Valley is that all of our neighbors are so friendly. Like our neighbors bring us stuff that they produce on their land. When we'll make desserts or whatever, I say we. Sarah will make desserts.
That is Grass Valley. Yes, it is. That is Grass Valley. I love Grass Valley.
Yeah, we'll go and bring the things that the stuff that the neighbors produce, and we'll make something from it, and then share it back to the neighbors, and it's great out here.
Yeah, that is Grass Valley.
Yeah. How is it is Reading community, like really community based like that as well? I don't know anything about Reading. Or is that where you are? Is that that's where you guys kind of grew up, right?
I grew up north of it.
Comment while we are. I refuse to comment. It is not Grass Valley, though. I will tell you that. I love Grass Valley. Okay. It's not Grass Valley.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, no.
Well, I just went and took a pee break, so if you're not going to, then I will.
Yeah, bladders are small around here.
Good night, you guys.
All right. So, yeah, Reading. Let's see here. When I had a paper route in 8th grade, Reading. Let's see here. So how do I break it down properly? California had the most meth-related ODs of all 50 states. Shasta County had the most meth-related incidences that went to the ER out of all the counties in California. Reading, which is the largest city in Shasta County, was the reason that Shasta County had as many meth-related things. There's now heroin.
That's interesting because when I was in Kansas City, I lived right down the street from Independence, which at the time at least was the meth capital of the world.
Yeah, this one was, as far as meth-related ER visits, was the statistic.
Gotcha. Well, I guess maybe the addicts out there are more careful than the addicts out here. I don't know.
Or they knew how to take care of each other a little bit better.
That could be
they
Midwest.
just hit each other's bodies. In Reading, there's a lot of places to hide bodies. When your friends OD, you just drive them out to the country and dump them.
Yeah.
So back when I was using and selling and all that, I used to tell anybody, like, if you're at my, like, I don't care, you can use my house, go nuts. But if you OD, I am not calling an ambulance. I'm gonna drop your body off, in the middle of the hood somewhere, and that'll be it. They'll find you in a trunk in Oak Park. Like, I'm not getting caught up. So I don't know if that's the way they are in Kansas City, but Kansas City, what I learned from being out there is really similar to the Bay Area. And that's kind of like the Bay Area mentality I brought, so that could be it. I don't know if I've ever been through Reading.
It's okay. No, nothing wrong. I mean,
Wait,
if you've driven I-5 northwards, you've been through it. If you've gone into Oregon, then you've been through it.
Because I drove up to Washington a few times. So I guess I have been through it.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Did you miss me? No, of course not.
Yeah, of course we did.
Of course we did.
Right.
You're the guest. We're kind of lost without you.
Right? You bring amazing
You
energy.
guys are the best. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
You all right over there, old man?
Yeah. Oh, I guess I didn't. Yeah, I didn't mute myself as I stood up.
No,
I got the personality of like an 8-year-old and the internal workings of like an 85-year-old. So I make all the sounds when I stand up and move. I've had a very active life and like 2 decades of off and on powerlifting, and that has caused a lot of joint issues.
My son has played football since he was 4, and he is so broken. I never knew that could happen. His joints, his fingers. I knew he got beat up football game after football game, but he won championships and everything. But then, like, now that he turned 19, 20, he's like, no, it fucking hurts, Mom. It hurts.
I got pretty fucked up playing football in high school. I got, like, my freshman year, so the head of security at my high school was also the football coach.
Yeah.
Ginormous Samoan dude.
Yeah.
And I got caught whooping somebody's ass, and he's like, you got 2 choices. I can call the police, or you can try out for football. And I was like, what? I was like, yeah, let's
that's a no-brainer.
So I was playing.
How many people
Right,
can
exactly.
see me? How many people can see me right now?
Just
us.
Just us. There's no video. That the people who are listening can't see video.
Okay.
You're not the only one.
right? And in football, I only made it through it was 3 or 4 games because I got suplexed on the field by it looked like the dude was like a 35-year-old power lifter. He just happened to be like probably a 15-year-old Samoan. Samoans are just built different.
Yeah.
Like they're genetically
Like, just fun fact.
Samoans are gifted. They're amazing.
Fun fact.
And I got my big fat. What's that?
I was gonna say fun fact. America Samoa,
Yeah.
their number one export is NFL players.
Yeah, no doubt. I had I weighed I probably weighed like 365 at the time, and I got basically picked up and thrown over the shoulder of the Samoan kid, landed on my head and neck. My neck was all fucked up. My back was all fucked up. And I was like, yeah, I can't fucking play football anymore because I'm going to die.
This one time my kid came home.
Never thought.
My kid came home from the game that night. He was taking off his gear to take a shower, and on his hip bone was the word Rydell, perfectly bruised in his hip bone.
Yeah, I got more fucked up playing football than I did in gang fights. Like football is brutal.
You understand? Like he played from 4 years old, which he was supposed to play flag at 4, but the school didn't have flag, so he played Mighty Might, full contact from 4 years on, and it ruined him. Like it broke his whole body down.
It's why we're not putting my youngest in full contact football. He's going to play flag until he gets up near high school. And then if he wants to go full contact, then he could go full contact. That way he'll know, he will learn. No, he'll learn all of his fundamentals, route running and the mentality behind it all. And then they'll teach proper tackling when you're at an age where that's a better age to learn.
He never got one concussion because we put a toilet seat on the back of the shoulder pads and his helmet. We made sure that protected it. It's called a toilet seat. It's a pad.
Right.
Or it's a plastic piece that comes up. Either way, depending on what his uniform required and the size he was, one of those two and his helmet. So he never got a concussion, but the rest of his body, when he wakes up in the morning and stands up, he has to put it all back into place.
Yeah, that's super rough. Yeah, they had when I was playing. I don't remember. I mean, I had normal protective gear, but I know what you're talking about. The pad that they use is the same that you'll see on like race car drivers and shit like that.
Right.
That they use. It's like it looks like a giant collar. I don't remember them having that back when I was playing.
No, we purchased that for him on our own. And we put it on the pad on our own, and we never told or asked anybody about it. Nothing was ever said. And he was like a little Ninja Turtle because he could take his helmet, rest it on that piece right there, tucked inside, and his head never was injured. He never got any concussions.
He's like a Ninja Turtle.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still only 5'8", and he hit so hard, but his poor body, and I never knew that as a mom that was going to happen to him. His fingers are so always out of place. When he wakes up in the morning, he legitimately has to get out of bed and put his entire body skeletal structure back into place. But he was a savage, 3 state championships. He was college scouted, full ride paid. He was a little Ninja Turtle.
That's awesome.
That's how
I think
I am. That's how I am in the morning, having to put myself back together with my Ehlers Danlos.
Like
I would have
like
never
standing
done
up.
that to him if I would have known.
Yeah, Sarah getting up in the morning sounds like a transformer changing forms, like just popping everything back into place.
But so you guys were talking about Samoans. Samoans are descended from the Maori, and they have the highest incident of the warrior gene. which could explain all the big old
Nobody's
football
saying
players.
Tua.
Yeah. I've only really encountered one small Samoan in my life, and that was one of the 2 fights I severely lost in my life. I've been in a lot of fights, and I bumped into this kid in the hallway back when I was in high school, and I was like, "Excuse you," right? And he's like, "What?" And I fired on him, and I whooped his ass for like 2 minutes. And a 2-minute fight is a really long fight.
Yeah, it is.
And then when I was done, he smiled at me, and everything in me went, "Oh fuck." And by the end of that
Even
fight,
at that age, it goes off. Fuck.
yeah,
All you did is warm him up.
At the end of that fight, bruh, I was in fetal position at the end of the fight. Like my earlobe was bruised. How do you bruise an earlobe? Like he fucked me up.
I just taught him all he needed to know to whoop your ass in that 2 minutes.
Right? And like I was banging his head against lockers, fucking him up. After that fight, I went home, sat on my bed, and cried, like ugly cried, because my pride was completely devastated.
That smile was the end.
Black eye. Oh yeah, like it took all the fight out of me. I was just like, oh no. Like I thought I was a badass, and I fucked around, and I found out.
Forces greater than me.
Yeah, and that dude was he was significantly smaller than me. And one of my homies came by to check on me, and I was like, "Nah, I'm not going to come out because this is before cell phones." And he was like, "Dude, open the door, fool." And I was like, I opened the door, and this is like 3 days later. He saw me, like, "Oh fuck!" I was what the fuck up. My mom was even like, "Who did you piss off?" But I mean, my mom was a hood mom. Like she opened the door once. Like someone was banging on the door. I opened the door. She was standing behind me, and somebody sucker punched me on the doorstep. And my mom's response to seeing me get sucker punched, she said, "You better whoop his ass." So I did. But yeah, I learned that whole warrior gene is a real thing. So Samoans get all my respect. Plus, just culturally, like I became friends with a lot of Samoans, and culturally, because nobody can see me. I look like a big ass white dude, and I'm half Filipino, and I got raised by the Filipino side of my family. So I grew up like thick in culture, and so like seeing the Samoan culture, like their sense of family and pride, like it's beautiful. When I was growing up, like the teenagers were
is the smart enough side of you to side with the winning team.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I think you learned a bit of that from your dad too.
As Americans can be pretty tough.
Yeah.
All right, so anyway, we have gone so far off the rails on this episode.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah, we have.
I think that was probably a good stopping point. It's been a couple of hours. Elle, thank you for coming on. Really appreciate pulling my ass out of the fire on this one because we couldn't get a hold of the guy that was supposed to be the guest. So thank you for that. Still got a lot of love coming in from the cousins. So I know that feels good.
It really does. Can my mom hear this?
If she wants to.
Okay. I mean, I don't care if she does or not. I just wanted to be warned.
Yeah, no, if she can't. Now, a couple of matters of business here. The website is back up again. I just verified it. I've gone through and I've reorganized all the episodes on Spreaker, so they're all now ordered not only by season, they now allow us to actually put the episodes in there, so that's now in there. And, we only have a couple more weeks left of this season. We're on episode 6, so we have 4 more to go. And then I think we'll just take the rest of November off, and then we will be moving to Saturdays. December 3rd will be our first new episode. New time, too. We're going to start an hour earlier, 5 o'clock Pacific time, which is 8 o'clock Eastern time. So you East Coast people don't have to stay up till midnight if we go 3 hours. You only have to stay up till 11. Yeah, I think it'll be.
And if you,
It'll be better on getting guests because Thursdays tend to be like board meetings, school board meetings, PTA stuff. They're busy. Thursdays are busy.
I was never busy on a Thursday.
You're the exception to the rule because, like a lot of people, I've had a lot of guests go, "Oh, I can't do Thursdays." Potential guests. It happens a lot. Thursdays.
I am 2 months into empty nest syndrome. Thank you.
Well, congratulations.
wow.
So yeah,
Elle, it was.
I'll go for it.
I was just gonna say, Elle, it was super lovely to get to talk to you.
I really do like you, lady. You are the best.
Now you're just lady.
Right?
I agree.
She's okay.
Oh no, she goes by.
She's one of the best parts of my life.
She goes by her name on the podcast. She goes by Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah goes by Sarah.
Sarah's a pretty common name.
I finally learned, and there's now an exception. Sounds just like the Bible, doesn't it?
No, it's whenever it's one of those things. Like it's up to you. Sarah decided to use the name Sarah, so there's Sarah. Oz decided to use.
To use the name Lisa.
You could have, yeah.
Oh, good, because I don't like Elle.
Okay, then we'll go. I'll change the episode.
There you go. Yeah, and I go by Oz because I've always gone by Oz. I'm pretty much an open book. I don't care who knows about my life or the details about it. Judge me if you want, but try to walk a mile in my shoes.
Totally.
My only concern is I just don't want my work to find out. But if they do, they do.
Yeah, you know what? And I'd happily walk a mile in your shoes because then I'd have your shoes.
He does have some nice shoes.
I do.
He does.
I do.
Okay.
Oz has always gone by Oz here. So
Yeah.
when I started it seemed kind of dumb to not go by my name because everybody would know who I was anyway if they know him.
All right, so yeah.
Right? We're talking about all of my cousins calling me Elle like...
We have too many L cousins.
Yeah, you could be anybody.
Yeah. That's that's why I kind of like going with just my initial E, even though if you listen to the podcast, you know my name. But yeah.
Well, you got a common name too.
I do.
So.
I really do. My parents were so awesome in that they've decided to pick out a name that happened to be one of the top 3 most used boys' names for the year I was born.
Oh, nice.
My name wasn't common until Brian Austin Green was a thing.
Oh, dear
and
God.
Then I remember going around a supermarket and hearing people like saying, "Austin, get back here." And I'm like, what the hell? Because I've only ever met one person with my name. And all of a sudden there were a bunch of 3-year-olds with my name wherever I went. And I was like, oh. Well, I used to be unique. I guess now I'm unique just like everybody else.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I could get anonymity through the fact that there's just a bulk of us. Good luck figuring out which one.
Right.
There you go.
All right, so yeah, until next week, and next week we will be talking about my favorite subject, seasonal affective disorder, because yeah, it's that time of year. We are entering the bad times for me and many others, and for some, this is actually the good times. So yeah, we're gonna, instead of it being just an episode with me running it and discussing what I do with it, it's going to be more open-ended. We're going to get more people involved, and we're going to have more of a discussion about it now that we've already covered it pretty much in a more or less clinical-ish environment. So, until then, I'm E.
I'm Oz.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Lisa.
And we'll catch you guys next week. All right.